Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia in a man's prison, which I had no idea.
Is under fire for extremely aggressive behavior portrayed toward Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA. And this incident has, of course, gone viral online, but also sparked up some other skeletons in Brittney's closet that she probably wants to stay hidden.
Brittney received the shock of her life. And no, it wasn't during a surprise birthday celebration. Doctors just disclosed some shocking information concerning her health that has Brittney in a panic. And to make matters worse, Caitlin Clark went into full attack mode, completely appending the scenario. Watch what happens next because this hilarious turmoil is going to get really heated, and you won't believe a second of it.
Y'all gotta see this. So Brittney Griner has just been banned from the WNBA after this situation with Caitlin Clark is going viral, where she made some extremely racist remarks from the bench after getting fouled out by Caitlin Clark. I mean, this is just insane. Just watch this video, bro.
No, it wasn't because someone ate the last piece of pizza that Brittney Griner had a full-blown outburst. Rather, it was because the physicians revealed something shocking. It was so large that it caused the WNBA's meticulously constructed woke safe space to wobble like a Jenga tower during a hurricane. But you heard correctly. The same Brittney Griner who has been yelling, elbowing, and essentially converting women's basketball into a WWE pay-per-view is now panicking because medical professionals have chosen to actually examine her biological status. The worst part is that we've all been told for 6 years that you can simply claim to be a woman and instantly be entitled to control women's. While the other female athletes are left wondering whether they should have simply used the magic words as well, Brittney didn't just glide through. Instead, she literally elbowed her way in and then threw a racist tantrum on top of it. Remember that little gem when she went after Caitlin Clark? That wasn't your typical bad sportsmanship. She called her a trash white girl because really, what's a little racism between considerate teammates?
Brittney Griner just called Caitlin Clark a trash effing white girl. Caitlin Clark has been picked on and abused ever since she entered the league in 2024, and now Brittney Griner is joining in on the action, saying that she is an effing white trash white girl because after she fouled out, she decided to take her anger and frustration out on Caitlin Clark. If the roles were reversed, imagine the type of field day the media would be having right now. Let's all remember the character of Brittney Griner. This is the same woman who got caught smoking weed in Russia and was...
However, stay put because this is where the interesting part begins. The WNBA's silence on the subject is deafening, and the medical revelations aren't just your typical how interesting kind of stuff. Instead, they imply that Brittney may be playing a whole different game, one that involves a level of physical advantage most female athletes can only imagine. This advantage is biologically undeniable.
There are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe.
Really, Brittney? Really? Can we switch this Brittney with the other Brittney, please, and bring her back?
This isn't a conspiracy theory concocted by a few online thugs. Rather, we're discussing qualified medical experts who have studied bone. When it comes to figuring out TikTok trends, Brittney's body, voice, and even movements don't fit the typical female athlete's anatomy, muscle composition, recovery patterns, and even injury histories. Imagine a doctor saying, "Wait a minute, that's not a female bone density." The WNBA then just twitched their thumbs in a manner akin to "go on. There's nothing to see here."
Biden made a trade for the Merchant of Death and returned him back to Russia for him to continue doing the same shenanigans that he was doing before he got arrested. He sold $10 million of arms to the Houthis. You think this was an even trade? The WNBA is nothing more than the WWE with women in basketball shorts.
And to make the injury worse, actually, Brittney has been seen on camera hitting Caitlin Clark with the delicacy of a wrecking ball. But when you take into account the possible biological benefits, she has been concealing behind the pretense of gender identity that. Suddenly, the entire trash, white female tirade feels like putting gasoline on a fire that has been simmering quietly in the background. You want hypocrisy, as assault shifts from being about dirty play to being about unfair domination. Let's discuss how, despite spending years advocating for equity and inclusiveness, the WNBA has been ignoring these pressing issues, telling everyone they are all unique snowflakes, while allowing one person to dominate the competition with an unfair advantage, and a dash of prejudice is like that. Believe me, Brittney wouldn't be pushing her way to championships if she were a straight white girl. Instead, she would likely be benched more quickly than you could say virtue signal, and then there's the whole Instagram AI drama. In that video that went viral, Brittney's Instagram shared a topless video that somehow managed to evade the platform's AI, which is meant to detect female nudity right away. Instead, the AI seems to be so perplexed that it gave her a pass, treating the content as though it belonged to a male athlete. Now, that might just be a glitch, but with all the other medical issues that are mounting, it's the ideal metaphor for the WNBA's entire system, which is deaf to facts, blind to reality, and desperate to protect a player who might not comply with the league's own rules.
It seems that the WNBA is, well, we know it's not a serious league, but it seems like maybe they are trying to hide something. They certainly do not want anybody with an opposing viewpoint covering their league. Now, mind you, this is a league that's never turned a profit. This is a league that, even with Caitlin Clark having joined this league last year, lost $40 million.
It used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross.
Well,
are you
I act like this
Okay.
Let's give credit where credit is due, though. It's not just about losing face over those racist remarks or even the attack on Clark. It's also about confronting a future in which her eligibility may be questioned, which explains Brittney's concern. If the medical community's demands for chromosome testing, hormone levels, and bone density scans are fulfilled, Brittney could end up serving as the face of the reason why sports leagues require strict biological verification, rather than just identity as a rule. And let's not even talk about the legal mess that is waiting in the wings if it turns out that Brittney has been competing under false pretenses. Her records would be cleared, and her reputation would be destroyed. Instead of embracing transparency or setting a precedent for fairness, they are hiding behind a wall of silence and damage control. It's more than obvious that every athlete who lost out due to this woke loophole would be lining up to claim damages. The financial fallout alone could bankrupt a small country cricket. Perhaps they believe that if they ignore the issue, it will go away, but it won't.
Rights deal coming, and that's going to bump up to about $220 million a year. But even that won't matter if something happens and Caitlin Clark's ratings disappear, like they have now that she's been injured. But that is not teaching this league anything. A couple of weeks ago, and even though it went viral, it somewhat got lost in the shuffle. Brittney Griner's effing white girl trash comments that was caught on video. Some people tried to claim it was effing whack call. I'm sorry, there's not a world where I see.
This is the conclusion. Women's sports are meant to be about fair competition among women. When you allow players with male biological advantages to enter the league because identity takes precedence over biology, you're not just breaking the rules, you're breaking the entire playing field. And if Brittney Griner continues to play in the WNBA without any testing or accountability, what does that say to all the female athletes who work tirelessly to compete on an even playing field that suggests their efforts are in vain? This isn't just a Griner issue, though. It's a crisis that is trembling the very foundation of women's sports for years. Leagues like the WNBA have claimed to support equality and empowerment, But they've covertly permitted the disregard of biological facts in the interest of political correctness. This is about maintaining the integrity of competition, which is something that every athlete needs to consider. It has nothing to do with hatred or discrimination. Sex has always separated sports because biology is important. The muscular mass of male and female bodies differs significantly. Ignoring these variations isn't progressive. It's irresponsible now. Bone density, lung capacity, and hormone levels aren't just trivia. They produce advantages and disadvantages that affect how athletes perform. Brittney Griner has emerged as the quintessential example of this carelessness. Some fringe voices aren't the source of the medical community's mounting concerns. When specialists point out that Gurrier's physical attributes are more in line with male genetics, it's not an attack on her identity. Rather, it's a plea to maintain fair play, and they're based on decades of scientific research.
Watching on purpose, it's very disruptive. It's called a freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
This is why the WNBA is never, ever going to work and never make money. And this is exactly what Caitlin Clark gets for bending the knee. Do you guys remember when she said, when we lost all respect for her, when she said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. And the more we can elevate black women, this is going to be a beautiful thing. That's when it was all over. And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts.
Now, picture yourself as a female basketball player who spends years training and shedding tears to get a chance at fame, only to have that opportunity stolen by someone who, despite identifying as a woman, has inherent physical advantages that cannot be eliminated by hormone therapy or self-identification alone. This is not only unfair, but also disheartening, and what's even more concerning is how the WNBA and other governing bodies have responded instead of answering these difficult questions. Rather, they have opted for obfuscation and silence, as though acknowledging the issue would destroy their meticulously constructed facade of inclusivity. But here is the harsh reality. When fairness is sacrificed for inclusivity, it is not inclusivity at all. It is betrayal, and safety is more important than just competition fairness. Women's sports are more than simply leisure activities. They are physically taxing, high impact, and occasionally brutal. When athletes compete on uneven terrain, the danger of injury increases dramatically, yet the league doesn't seem to be addressing these issues openly.
Griner once revealed in an ESPN interview the struggle she faced with her body and outward appearance when she was growing up. Yes, she's very flat-chested. Listen, there's arguments out there. There's arguments out there about people that think she's not a biological woman. I ain't gonna argue with you too hard. Fact checkers say she is, but just essentially is completely flat-chested.
Furthermore, let's be clear that this isn't about dismantling people or taking away their freedom to live as they see fit. Rather, it's about preserving the competitive environment that women's sports have worked so hard to create, honoring the sacrifices made by female athletes, and making sure that laws that don't take into account physical realities don't make their efforts pointless. If anything, sports leagues should take note of Brittney Griner's predicament and establish explicit, scientifically based eligibility standards that honor both identity and biology. Contentious, but ignoring the problem won't solve it. These women put forth endless effort to compete on an even playing field, only to have their opportunities diminished due to inadequate regulation. If this issue is not resolved, the repercussions could be disastrous. Sponsors may withdraw, supporters may lose faith, and the legitimacy of women's sports may be irreparably tarnished. This is not exaggeration. If governing entities keep putting appearances before justice, it is a genuine possibility.
The WNBA is committed to eradicating racism, along with criticism and most other isms. Now, of course, feminism is allowed along with feminine masculinism. A week or so into the season, Bob Griner potentially violated the no space for hate policy. Bob was caught on video speaking blasphemous rhetoric towards the Great White Hope, but for some reason, Kat Engelbert is choosing to ignore it. Kat Engelbert can't find the interest to even launch an investigation.
Additionally, it's time to demand accountability, call out the silence, advocate for transparency, and assist women who are feeling deceived by athletes and fans. Indeed, Brittney Griner's story is more than just a headline. It's a symptom of a much larger crisis, and if it's not addressed head-on, the consequences will reverberate far beyond the WNBA courts, shaking the very future of women's athletics worldwide. After all, women's sports aren't just entertainment. They're a hard-fought battleground for equality, opportunity, and dignity. Allowing politics and double standards to overtake that battlefield does a disservice to everyone who cares about the game.